You remember last year? I sure hope so. It just happened. And if you were anywhere on the internet a few months ago, you probably saw that everyone was freaking out about this show called My Dear Friend Nokotan. So, what was that about?
Huh?
Why are you stuck again? Learn already, will ya?
No, this clip was not a deeply receded memory of yours created by a fever dream. It is real, and it's from a show that you can actually go watch right now. But the real question is, should you? Yes, and here's 20 minutes of exactly why.
No.
So first of all, for all of those who haven't yet seen the show, do not worry. Those clips that you saw on Twitter a few months ago weren't actually real. Really even scratching the surface of how utterly bizarre this show is. Do you think JoJo's is weird? This show uses JoJo's as a reference to pause the lunacy, to give you breathing room, because you at least understand what's going on when Nokotan is threatening to catch multiple juvenile assault charges while looking like a femme-coded Jotaro Kujo. A feeble mind such as your own is not capable of predicting where some of these storylines will go. I'm not even going to explain this one. I'm just going to let you look at it, put it away, and notice how your brain didn't form that image into anything resembling a coherent memory. That is my point. So, I'm going to give you a little primer on what the show's about to get yourself mentally prepared for when you inevitably go and watch it for yourself without spoiling a single thing. Alright? And for those of you who have already watched the show, what are you doing? Why are you here? You can just leave, click off, watch something else, do something productive like committing tax fraud. You don't need to watch a review for a show you've already seen. So, the basic gist of the show is this. Koshi Torako, also known as Koshi-tan, but not yet, is a reformed schoolgirl delinquent trying to keep her newly pristine public image squeaky clean, and she's doing a great job at achieving that, but this is an anime about girl failure lesbians, so we can't have that. To rectify this, God sends down their eepiest soldier for this hardest of battles, Noko Shikanoko, also known as My Dear Friend Nokotan, who is our dearly dear befriending dear girl here. She meets Koshi and then proceeds to utterly take over every aspect of her life. With a chaotic madness, she acts in strange ways that only Koshi seems to be capable of perceiving as strange, such as, well, this.
I'm sorry! I don't mind the horns at all!
So? We're okay now, are we?
As well as obsessing over deer crackers, performing feats of athleticism, and ending up in a egregious breach of the Geneva Convention. Wah, Elisa, the Geneva Convention only applies to war, and it's not a war crime because Nokotan isn't in a war. Are you sure about that? Are you sure that's not where this show goes? Now, from there, we meet a few more characters that stir their own little forms of chaos, leaving Koshi-tan in a constant, seemingly unbearable state of stress and anxiety before she learns to appreciate all of these people that fill her life with color and excitement that wouldn't be there otherwise. And that's basically it. That's what it's about. The show is a slice of life about learning to enjoy all of the special people in one's own life. You as a viewer are meant to empathize with Koshitan, both in anxiety and joy, following her in her journey to become attached to these characters. And before you know it, all of these people have become important and intimate to you in a way that didn't even occur to you when it was happening. A tone that really melts into your heart in the quiet moments, when everything slows down and you're allowed to just exist in circumstance. Feel the presence of those close to you. Embrace the imperfections of your life and watch as they become vibrancy, soon realizing how those moments have become so special to you. And that's basically all you need to know as a new viewer. And for those of you who have already seen the show and are still watching the review, don't worry, I knew you weren't going to go anywhere. You're watching this to have your opinions validated by a stranger on the internet, and I get it. Did I need to call you out on it twice? No, but I wanted to, and you're enjoying this, so you're not any better than I am, which might actually mean that this is the awakening of your humiliation fetish. And if so, that's a third call out, completing the comedy rule of threes and concluding this bit. Now, as far as my review of the show goes, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. There is a lot I could sing praises about, and don't worry, I will. We'll get to that. But first, I think it's important to highlight a few things that I think really make this show special. Nokotan is a true love letter to anime and manga. The amount of references in it per episode, if graphed out, would seem to approach infinity, and I'm not here to compile them. You can go watch someone who actually knows something about anime to do that. Not me. I'm dumb as rocks when it comes to anime. I only watched Made in Abyss a week ago, and that was because my friend wanted to emotionally fuck me up, and I don't get that show. Why did they want to go into the horrible death hole? I don't get it. Besides my point, Nokotan is a show that pays homage to every genre, every art style, and probably every other anime ever made in its 12-episode runtime. All in extremely attentive and delightful ways. You can tell that this show was made by people who just love this art form. And everything from the way the series wields its tones and vibes to create a thrilling and exciting show that leaves you on the edge of your seat wanting more, as well as a slow and tender show that isn't scared to dwell in its emotions. To the fact that the namesake character is a canonical trans girl, to the incredibly complex themes of emotional closeness hidden beneath layers of genuinely hilarious comedy, it all makes the show so darn special. It is an experience that will stick with you, due to a large part that you didn't expect it to. It hides its true intentions of making an emotional impact on the viewer, slowly wrapping its arms around them until they're caught in its loving embrace. And then Nokotan will just fucking kill a guy, and then all of a sudden you feel like a dumbass for having an intense, introspective, emotional reaction to a cartoon where this happens.
Blowing up the gym, classic Koshitan, the former delinquent.
That's your fault, isn't it? You're totally zoned out too! Thank goodness this is just a sloppy gag anime.
And yes, that clip is from the dub. That's the version I watch, and if you think less of me because I watch the dub, first of all, I'm dyslexic, so you're making fun of a disabled person. Secondly, I don't have a second point, but I don't need one because having preferences on the method of consumption of media is a human right, and if humans get to have that right, so does whatever the fuck I am. Now, if I were to summarize the biggest positives about the show, I would say the characters, which are all so unique and expressive, the animation, which captures both the beauty and the absurdity of the rest of the show, and the fact that it's just so damn funny. You get how hard it is to find an anime that's, like, actually funny, right?
You're also a virgin, aren't you? I mean, my horns are reacting to you.
What kind of system is that?
like that is just pure gold in comparison to the average level of anime comedy, which usually is something like this.
I mean, what is happening?
That would be the question I would like to ask. But let's calm you down first. Okay, now I'm ready to talk.
Huh? You're really gonna game at a time like this?
That's labeled as a comedy. I'm not joking, and I genuinely swear that was the funniest clip I could find in its entire first episode I refuse to watch anymore, so that's the bar that we're working from here. It's also gay as hell, so, you know, if you're down for some gay as hell anime, you know, here you go. Like every show, Nokotan isn't perfect. And so to pretend like I'm unbiased, I'm going to list a few things that can be seen as flaws with the show. The big one, I imagine, people would bring up, and rightfully so, is that the show explicitly has a, yeah, I ain't saying that, a character that has a bit too close of an emotional connection to their blood relative? Yeah, that. And while it's not a particularly major part of the show, it is undeniably, explicitly a part of it, and, you know, that's something that you should be aware of if you're going to watch it. And I imagine there's three camps that people will fall into about it, right? People who have not watched a lot of anime, who are going to be rightfully weirded out by it, and confused, and not really like it. People who have watched a lot of anime and have learned to tune this kind of stuff out because it is way too prevalent in the art form. And then obviously the third camp, who are the degenerates, who are specifically here for this stuff, like this guy.
Sisterly Yuri. Oh, I'm into that.
And you know who you are. But at the same time, this entire plot line, like everything else in the show, is a parody and a pastiche of this exact trope in anime. It intentionally goes over the top with it because it wants to make fun of it. And people might rightfully still be uncomfortable watching it, and no shame if you are, but the point is that it is ridiculous and over the top to make fun of how this is basically in most anime. And look, here I am trying to talk about the show's faults, and I'm just praising it again. That's how good this show is. Anyway, a few other things that could be seen as flaws with the show. Let's see. There's a villain at some point who is introduced, and she threatens to have, like, a whole arc, but then kind of forgets about it. Like, she becomes a background character, essentially. And, you know, I just personally wish that they did a lot more with Neko Yamada, and I feel like they could have done a lot more, and they didn't. Another very important thing to mention is the ending. The ending is weird. I like it, I love it, it's great, I think, but if you go into it with the wrong expectations, you might end up disappointed, because it is an ending that is making fun of endings. It is an ending that is designed to be unsatisfactory. So make sure you're going into it with the right expectations, and you won't be disappointed. But yeah, I'm running out of things to say, and I'm not going to just sit here and yap at you. Ignore that I just did that for 15 minutes. What is my final conclusion? My Deer Friend Nokotan is the perfect show to binge by yourself or to savor every episode. Slowly watching and chatting with friends, it doesn't matter how you watch your anime, whether it's your first time or your 10th running it back, this show will not disappoint with its level of detail, care, and passion. The only reason I think you might not like this show is if you hate the concept of joy itself. So, that sucks for fans of Bleach, but for everyone else, you cannot go wrong with My Deer Friend Nokotan. Anyway, that's it for me, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I just wanted to gush for a few minutes and thought it would be a nice way to start this channel. Probably will be more in the future as far as reviews go, so subscribe for that kind of stuff and things. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye. Mwah. And if you think about it, the real deer was the Nokotan we made along the way.